Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of the Sports Insight with your host Umar Khan. And yes, as you know, we give you information about sports from all across the globe. You guys can surely reach out to us on our social media handle, which is at the rate of Indus New Sports. That basically works both for Twitter and for Instagram. But anyways, we'll go to the headlines first. And yes, from the world of cricket, Pakistani captain Babar Azam was declared the ICC Men's Player of the Month for April for his consistent performance across all formats. And yes, from the world of Premier League, Burnley trounced Fulham 2-0 on Monday. And yes, from the world of NBA, Warriors managed to win against Utah Jazz 119-116 on Monday. And yes, those were the headlines. And obviously, we'll start off discussing the world of cricket. And to discuss the world of cricket, the most interesting story that we have right now is obviously Babar Azam still declared as the ICC Men Player of the Month for April. Obviously, he also managed to take over the entire perspective by staying on number one. And Virat Kohli was actually there at one point, but Babar Azam managed to do so. Besides that, we obviously had the Pakistan versus Zimbabwe series that surely was an interesting one. We'll surely be discussing all of this, and to discuss this, we have with us a former Test cricketer, Hasan Raza, with us. Hasan, welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. You invited me in your show.
Great, great. So, sir, we'll start off with definitely discussing a bit about Babar Azam, how he managed to get to the point where he is, and then we can further discuss Pakistan versus Zimbabwe as the complete tour.
Obviously, he's a remarkable achievement in Pakistan cricket. Doesn't matter top order or middle order batting. He's a consecutive performer in Pakistan cricket, like T20 format, like 50 overs game and Test matches especially. So he's a acceptable, captain as well. He's a good captaincy with against Zimbabwe last series, especially in South Africa as well. We are starting talking about the South Africa series. He was captain. Once he's experienced about in under 19 captaincy, that time when he's a very child, he don't have experience from the international level. Now these days he's playing very good cricket in Pakistan, middle order batsman, especially against South Africa when he took the Test series, two Test matches series against South Africa and Karachi.
Right.
Now he's a number one player in the ranking, ICC ranking as well. So he's a very remarkable achievement himself. He performed very well in both kind of cricket, like Test cricket or T20 format as well. So very good experience with the Pakistan team.
Right, sir. One more thing, Hasan, I would surely want to talk about. There are obviously, even if we talk about Mohammad Rizwan in the current scenario, obviously we've seen the tournament that actually happened, Pakistan versus Zimbabwe, and we've actually seen a very interesting turn of events for Pakistan when it came to the T20 side. Obviously, we managed to take that Test series or grasp that Test series because we were pretty much solid with regards to that, and obviously Zimbabwe team actually had a loss of a lot of people for them. So ultimately, the thing that is currently in my head right now is Mohammad Rizwan is obviously coming up there. What or how do you see the youngsters, because there are so many youngsters that actually want chances like these so that they can come up to a point of being solid. They become to a point of learning and gaining those experiences that they want as a cricketer. So you still see that there are people coming on board, but they always get their chance when they cross the age of 34, 35, when, I think it's almost the last leg of their enthusiasm being a sportsman.
We're looking forward to Pakistan cricket since about 90s when they are playing from good performers in domestic cricket, and they have a chance about, like me myself, 14 years I played 1996 against Zimbabwe. Right. So too early to play Test cricket level. So these kind of cricket here, T20 format or 50 overs game, like Tabish Khan, he took 600 and something wickets in domestic.
Right.
So now I don't think so. He play for more cricket in Pakistan top level because of his age is very suspended. So that's why, like so many players playing from early on chances, we are talking about Pakistan cricket emerging players. Right. So why are they giving to chance like Saud Shakil, like youngsters? If they are giving to chance like Shaheen Afridi, he played for 17 years, 18 years age. So many players in Pakistan cricket, so given to chance early on, then he played from good perform from Pakistan cricket like 8 years or 10 years.
Right.
If you see in the past, like 2001, in one player like Misbah Ulagi played for against New Zealand one Test. Then after 5 years he played for domestic cricket.
Right.
So that's the grown up very good things about in Pakistan. So we have a high profile camp as well in NC Academy. So still they have a good chance to produce the new players and young players to give them to chance 5 or 6 years. They're playing from Pakistan cricket team as well.
Right. If we talk about young players, let's discuss. I surely want to talk a bit more about the young players as we're discussing about it. If we talk about Heather Ali, obviously we've seen Heather Ali perform superbly when it comes to the domestic matches, but when it comes to an international match, we've seen him getting the chance, the opportunity, but he's still unable to come out of the closet. So how do you see that working out for him?
The top level is very important to learn from your mistakes. Heather Ali playing from some of the good innings in T20 format,
Right.
but not playing from 50 overs game. And basically, Heather Ali is a very technical, good sounder player, but he playing from onside all the time. So he improved himself. Like Asif Ali giving to too much chances in Pakistan cricket. He
Right.
played for Islamabad United, good performance in T20 format. But basically, depend on the performances, depend on selection committee, give it to chance, give it to confidence, more than 1 year, 2 years, that they can improve themselves because cricket is very tough about around the world. So
Right.
lots of tactics from the cricket. So you have to the same time, same mistake doesn't go in Pakistan cricket. So you need to be improve yourself and more successful like Babar Azam players and basic techniques. You work out your techniques.
So how impactful is obviously these performances by these youngsters? Because I think they surely need to keep that balance of having a senior player and a junior player together. Because if we talk about putting Heather Ali on maybe 5 down or maybe 6 down in a T20 format, obviously it becomes a lot of pressurizing situation for him because we still, on the T20 side, we still lack that situation where we can actually establish those timelines for the players that this player can come at this point in the batting lineup and can take that pressure.
Depend on situation. T20 format is very short format. Early on, there are some of the 2 or 3 players top order. They're given to chance to play full batting from protection. They're given to good chance. Like Fakhr Zaman, he capable to play early on. He's a strike rotate, ball to ball. He play for the merit.
Right.
So that's a good chances for Fakhr Zaman. And some of the guys Rizwan play for number 3 as well. So that is main thing about the partnership. T20 format is a very short format. You
Right.
need to be just strike rotate from the each and every ball. So that is the main important things. So these kind of youngsters, if they given to good confidence, 1 or 2 years playing from consistent cricket, so that's why hopefully they improve themselves.
Right. So if we look back into the Pakistan versus Zimbabwe series, if we get there, so if you remember the first 3 matches, we talk about the T20 format, the first match, the second match, and the third match. So what happens in the first match is obviously Pakistan not on the finest of batting lineup, to be very honest. I still think that there are some technical glitches, and then it came to the second match because I think it was literally the first match when we won. It was very close call for us, but then we look at the second match and fighting against Zimbabwe for that victory and unable to pull off even 100 raises a lot of eyebrows. How do you see that maybe in the long run improving for us?
But Zimbabwe team is not experienced from the Test cricket ranking, So we are talking about last 1996 or 90s. That team is very good, like Andy Flower, Brian Flower. So many Test players was there. Heath Streak, fast bowling. So they are two only players like Williamson playing from T20 cricket in Zimbabwe, and Taylor. He's also playing from longer cricket in Zimbabwe. He's a captain as well from Zimbabwe side.
Right.
So they don't have experience like Pakistan side. Pakistan side really protection about their coaches good hard working to the guys like Abid Ali, like Babar Azam, especially Azhar Ali in from batsman. He took 126 runs.
Right.
He's come back a long time about centuries. So there's a good improvement from Pakistan side, and Misbah Ulaq was there, good hard working with the boys. That's the last series. They consecutive last. Babar Azam he played from 4 consecutive Test matches as a captain. So good sign from Pakistan cricket, especially the chairman Hasan Mani given to good appreciation with the boys from the all squad from Pakistan cricket. It's a very good sign from Pakistan cricket before the World Cup. Like
Right. If we talk about, obviously, in terms of the lineup, when we look at the performances in the Test side, Pakistan did manage to break that barrier. And I just had an interview with Ryan Burl yesterday, and we also discussed the entire perspective. But yes, as discussed, Ryan said that 5, 6 players on their squad were injured, and they did not have those backing players who could actually support the Test lineup. So how impactful do you think, if those main players are missing, can be as crucial because Zimbabwe lost at a very, very bad situation in both of the test matches.
We are definitely there are some injuries over there in Zimbabweans players over there in Zimbabwe. So very difficult to handle this kind of situation because you play from international level, top level. So you need to be prepare your team and prepare your positions like bowling or fielding or wicket keeping as well.
Right.
So you test cricket, you need to be more experienced from test cricket like against Pakistan teams. Pakistan team lost consecutive against South Africa. They played very good cricket in Karachi Test match and they play from against Sri Lanka as well. They play from home series in Pakistan Pindi Test match. So that's why they have to learn from good cricket because
Right.
Test cricket is a 5 day cricket. So you need to be 80 overs in the per day, like more than, and you need to be some learning stage. You know, in Zimbabwe cricket's their lack of confidence. They don't have one or two bowlers, fast bowlers for taking new balls.
Right.
Otherwise, they survive from bowling side as well. So that's
Right.
difficult.
Sir, one more thing I would like to ask. I discussed, obviously, when it comes to Shaheen Shah Afridi, I think he's one of the finest bowlers. Hasan Ali made an amazing performance in this entire series, obviously backing 5 wickets in each match. So I think we're going in the right direction. But don't you think that, we need to start rotating at least Shaheen Shah Afridi, because we do not want consecutively him coming in every match in bowling, because obviously you know as a cricketer it becomes very difficult for the bowler to consistently do this, and we have new talent like Dahani. We could have replaced him to come up and give him an opportunity.
Yeah, same like if they win the series, definitely given to chance from dugout from new guys over there in Pakistan squad. Like Imran, but he played from Test match as well, given to chance. He missed the century, but he played very good. Same like Tabish Khan, he took the domestic format, so many wickets, so many playing from domestic cricket last 10 or 12 years. So that's why they dug out like So Shakili is a promising player from upcoming batsman. He took so many centuries in domestic cricket last few years.
Right.
Well, probably they depend on selection committee. They give him to chance, and they need to be good combination with the Pakistan team before the World Cup as well, and some of the big series like Australia and England. If you go over there, so you need to be prepared from your batting and bowling skills because of high-profile camp in NCA academies. So
Right.
Mohammad Yusuf was there, so give it a chance to put technique basics with the.
Yeah, I would want to ask one last question, very interesting one. You talked about the World Cup. It's still, obviously, we talk about the World Cup supposed to be in India in October, but situation are really, really out of control for India. And ICC have actually thought of maybe switching the World Cup to the UAE side. We still do not have major development updates on that, but what's your take on the situation if that actually happens?
See, situation is very critical. Like in India, in COVID-19, if you've seen around the scene, everyone, and difficult to Pakistan as well, and difficult to all of the country. So many effective crickets in the world, and like every country.
Right.
So difficult. Let's see in India, like IPL was there starting few matches.
Right.
So postponed about the COVID-19. So difficult. Let's see. And the World Cup is they are decided from ICC. I think in Dubai, the best players from the crowd situation, their pitches was there very good batting track.
Right.
So they're looking forward to. Let's see where they're announcing from the T20 World Cup in the country.
Right. Well, Hasan, thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the world of cricket with us. We hope for the best with regards to wherever the World Cup eventually scheduled itself. Thank you very much. So that was Hasan, and yes, we were discussing the world of cricket. The in-depth analysis of obviously the individual team members, and we started off with Babar Azam and talking about the new talent who actually need to be given that opportunity to make their mark, because if that's not the case in the long run, we'll surely have a lot of losses. But anyways, ultimately we are still trying to prepare ourselves for the World Cup, be it T20 side or even the World Cup otherwise for the ODIs. Anyways, guys, what we'll do is we'll take a quick break, and once we're done from the break, we'll be back and discuss the world of sports with you. See you guys after the break. And yes, welcome back from the break. And yes, before the break, we were discussing the world of cricket. But as we discuss all sorts of sports, we'll surely jump into Premier League's update. Yes, as we discussed earlier, it's Burnley that actually managed to win against Fulham by 2-0 on Monday. To discuss this, we have with us Mr. Phill Hall. Mr. Phill, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How are you?
I am well. So yes, let's talk about Burnley winning against Fulham. And yes, Fulham are now out. So what's your take on the entire match of Premier League?
Well, that was a really important game at the foot of the Premier League. Obviously, Fulham had to win The fact that they didn't, Burnley were just above them, and the 3 points means that Fulham are now relegated. Burnley are safe, and Fulham relegated along with West Brom and Sheffield United. So a crucial game, but really well done to Sean Dyche and Burnley, because they're really working against the odds surviving in the Premier League the way they are.
Right, and I think it's definitely going to be very technically hard for Fulham to make that comeback again. And yes, as you mentioned that, they're also relegated, and same goes for West Brom and Sheffield United. So how do you see them maybe next time in the next season? How do you see them making that comeback again to where they were supposed to be?
They've got a reasonable chance, because obviously they have the parachute payments. So financially, they're much better off than the other Championship teams. But I think Fulham would probably stand the best chance of the three of getting back up, because I like the way Fulham play. They're a good size, and Scott Parker's got them well organised. They just had a bad run at the end of the season, which left them relegated, unfortunately. But of the three, I think they would be the most likely to come straight back up.
Right. So let's talk about the championship itself. Obviously, the playoffs are now underway, upcoming to be precise. So what's your take on the entire championship to begin with? Because we surely want to know more about those clubs that have actually struggled to get there. And it's surely going to be an interesting lineup of matches that are coming underway ahead.
Yeah, it is indeed. I mean, firstly, congratulations to Norwich, who won the championship, and to Watford, who are promoted automatically.
Right.
It's the race for the playoffs now. Obviously, 4 teams left in the playoffs, which are Brentford, Swansea, Barnsley and Bournemouth. Right. First leg's next Monday, I believe.
Yep.
And they're going to be really interesting ties.
So, in your personal perspective, when we see them, see Norwich being on the top, congratulations to them. But how do you see this semi-final leg that actually is coming in, the leg 1 and the leg 2? Obviously, it's going to be home and away to begin with. But how do you see the home and away working for the teams these days because of the corona situation? Obviously, it's more of the empty stadiums that we see. Not that, there's a bigger impact, or is it that we can still see a bigger impact of playing at home and away?
I think there will be more of an impact this time, because for the first time in over a year, a small amount of supporters will be allowed back into the stadiums. In my own team, Barnsley's case, I think it's going to be around 4,500 fans will be in the stadium, which is probably about a quarter of what there would have been had it been, no COVID restrictions. But the fact that fans will be in there, and the ones that are in there will be desperate to get in and make some noise and support their team. So I think the home and away will come into play on this one, yeah.
Yeah, because before this, obviously, I'm sure there will be some serious protocols to follow just to get there, because I still think it's going to be technically. But yes, once the fans are there, because I think the players have surely suffered a lot during these COVID times and not having that crowd support to begin with.
Yeah, it must have been very difficult for the players. It must be strange playing in front of an almost empty stadium. It's like playing in a training match, if you like. But in some cases, I think it's helped. I mean, my own team, Barnsley, I think it's helped them, because they're a really young side, the youngest side in the entire Football League.
Right.
And without the experience, no fans are getting on the backs, if you like, if they make mistakes. So in some ways, it's helped them. And Barnsley have had a very successful season in the playoffs.
Right. So how do you see amongst these legs that are coming in of the semi-finals, who do you see evolving even more? Like you just mentioned that obviously Barnsley's managed to get that extra edge. But how do you see them developing in the future? Because obviously it's going to be a very decisive and very interesting lineup of matches amongst them.
Yeah, I mean, Barnsley play Swansea with the first leg at Barnsley next Monday. Again, with home and away fans allowed in, I think that Barnsley have to make that home advantage pay, and they need to get a lead against Swansea. Swansea have been a useful side this season. They've done well. They finished 4th in the table, I think. But they haven't scored that many goals. They don't concede many, but they don't score many either.
Right.
So I think the secret for Barnsley is to try and get a goal or two up in that first leg, because Swansea then will struggle in the second leg, I think.
Right. So what team do you think will surely make it to that level that, obviously is going to be an interesting lineup as discussed. But how do you see, or which team do you currently see making their mark at the end of it all?
At the end of it all, I mean, there's the other semi-final as well, of course, Brentford against Bournemouth. Again, that's going to be a tight game between two good sides.
Right.
But I would expect Brentford to come through that one to the final.
Right.
And I also hope and also think that Barnsley will get through Swansea. So I think it might be Brentford-Barnsley in the final.
That would surely be an interesting lineup from how I see it. But in generally, if we talk about overall matches, if we just want to, I'd rather have a just quick word with you with regards to the matches on the other side of the world. I'll just have a quick take on just your opinion on how do you see when it came to the Champions League, if you want to just add in something to your knowledge with regards to Chelsea versus Manchester City. How do you see that developing for the future for both of them?
Well, that's going to be a cracking game, isn't it? Two English sides in the Champions League final. Manchester City have been desperate to win this trophy for years, of course. Now, on paper, they're the better side. Two good sides, obviously, two excellent sides.
Right.
And Chelsea did, in fact, win at Manchester City last week. So nothing's for sure. But if Manchester City play as well as they can, and they are superb to watch, there's no escaping that. If they play to their ability, they should beat Chelsea.
I'm surely looking forward to that. I think after Thomas Tuchel's entry to Chelsea and heading them has actually brought in a lot of courage to them. But then we talk about Manchester City, they're literally on fire themselves. I think they're one of the most unbreakable teams right now.
Yeah, I mean, I said they're so good to watch. That's the beauty of it. I know there's a lot of money behind them, and they've spent millions and millions of pounds on players and wages and what have you. But they are a good footballing side and a joy to watch, no doubt about it.
So we'll surely be looking forward for match. And obviously, initially it was informed that, the match will be held in Istanbul. But surely a lot of players want to go out, see the match, because as you mentioned, even in the championship that you just mentioned, that, now a few of the players and the fans would be allowed to go and visit them. So now they're actually planning on, a situation where they can actually make sure this match the final actually manages to be in the UK.
Yeah, I think they're looking at either the UK, which would possibly be Wembley, or alternatively, I think they've been looking at a venue in Portugal as well. So I don't think anything's finally been decided yet. It'll be interesting to see, but it would be good to see fans in there, definitely.
Right. Well, Phill, thank you so very much for being a part of the show and discussing the world of football.
That's no problem. Great to speak to you as always.
Pleasure. So yes, that will, and he surely talked about, obviously we started off discussing from the Premier League, we jumped into the Championship, and then obviously we talked about the upcoming Champions League final. But not to forget that, we still want to discuss more. Yes, we want to discuss a quick word on the world of NBA. Yes, when we talk about NBA, this is the Warriors that actually managed to win against the Utah Jazz, 119-116. And Steph Curry's late three lifts obviously made sure that the Warriors can go past Utah Jazz and managed to win against them 119-116. And Curry finished with 36 points to lead the Warriors. And not to forget that, Curry has been struggling lately, and, a lot of questions were, out there with regards to his performance. But obviously, when it comes to the entire team, it has to be the entire team to perform, not just the individual person. But I think, now they have actually managed to win their last 11 games of their 16 games. And Warriors currently remain on the 8th seed in the playoff race. And Utah Jazz still hold the number 1 spot in the Western Conference. But I'm sure because of this entire match, or this current match, the level of motivation for the Warriors would surely be on the rise. But anyways, we'll surely look out more in the world of NBA, and surely we'll discuss it with you. But anyways, if you guys want to reach out to us, you can on our social media handle, which is @Indus News Sports. Till then, take good care of yourself, and bye-bye.